Dennis here at Cappel Training and Shoeing. This is a horse that is here to be shod. And when you look at his feet, you know, they're pretty long, and it's okay. You know, a horse's feet, they grow, they get length on them, and with one simple trim, they can be right back to in good shape again. So just because a horse gets a little excess length on them is not the end of the world. It's just a matter of having a competent person that knows what they're doing to trim the feet. So I think it would, you know, be nice to be able to recognize distortion from a horse owner's standpoint. So that's why we're doing this video here before I trim the foot and before I shoe it. So what is distortion? Distortion is simply this: it's excess length. And there's an ongoing conflict between the ground, the weight of the horse, and movement. Let's say that this pin right here is the hoof wall, and this is the ground. If it's on an angle like this, the further out it gets, the more apt it's going to be to pull away from the foot. It's going to bend because of the length, because of the angle that it's on. So recognizing distortion and addressing it properly is the most important that a hoof practitioner can do. So let's look at this foot and see where we're at. So as we look at the foot here in the front, you can see that down to about here, this line right here, that foot is coming down at a pretty good angle. But look what happens below that angle. It's distorted out. So there's a line pretty near all the way around this foot, like that. And the outside of the foot is it's simply just peeling up around due to that weight bearing that the horse is pressing on the hoof wall. The ground is pushing up on it, so we've got, in that prying effect, we get a separation to take place. So that's a view that I look at from the external, the outside, but that's not the only view that I need to have. I need to be able to see what's going on the underneath side and be accurate about what I'm seeing there. So I'm going to just take this wire brush and clean that out real well so that I can see. Get some more dirt out of here. See, it's not just the hoof wall that distorts. You can see right here, this is the bar. And notice that bar, what a curve it's got in it right now. And the bar on the horse's foot is nothing more than hoof wall. And it's gotten long, so it is also stretching outward. All right? Now, right here is the last place that this horse is touching the ground. And it is forward of where it needs to be. What do I mean by that? Well, if I find a place where the hoof wall and the frog would be meeting, touching, along about right here, and you see that the distance from where this mark is and this one is back almost probably close to 3/4 of an inch, which means that as the foot hits the ground, the heel is loading up and it's crushing forward, which caused this bending in the bar, and it's causing the heel to come in. Okay, so that's another way of looking at distortion and what's happening. Let me clean this frog up just a little bit here. I'm going to take off the parts of the frog that look like they're going to trap moisture and dirt and try to leave that frog as much intact as I can, because it is a weight-bearing surface as well. See, we need to have some support in the center of that horse's foot, because it actually helps supports the bones. The internal structures of the horse's leg are supported not only by hoof wall, but the internal part of the wall as well. So we've got frog, hoof wall, and sole all being supportive tissue when a horse loads up, when he's standing on that weight with foot with all his weight. Okay. Right now I'm just finding distortion and getting ready to put a little map on here to tell me what I need to do. What I'm doing right here is cleaning out that dirt right along where the hoof wall and the sole meet. Okay, and I want to get this area right here pretty clean so I get an accurate reading as to where the center of that horse's foot is. And if I find the widest part of the sole, which is about right across here, and I come straight across there, this is also a spot where the bar should terminate into the frog. Come across there, and again to the widest part of that foot. That's my center mark. Well, look how much foot is in front of center, meaning that the front of this foot has stretched. Okay, so this is the central sulcus right here, and if I draw a V right back here at the back of that central sulcus is wide and it's got a hard bottom, so it's a healthy central sulcus. And right here would be the very back dimple, and it's a little bit behind where the heels should come to. So the heels are going to come out straight across here, and that dimple is just behind that line. Sometimes these lines will line up perfectly straight with one another. In this case, the dimple is a little bit behind it. Okay, so now let's look here at this central sulcus. I'm gonna go out here to the widest part of the foot, and I'm gonna measure that out to hoof wall from the frog. Okay, right there. Get that measurement right there. That should be my central sulcus length. Okay, now 2 times the central sulcus length is the true apex of the frog. This frog is stretched forward. It is stretched forward, so it looks like it goes way out here, and it does, but the whole foot is stretched forward. The heels are stretched forward, the toes stretched forward, so we need to have some way of finding out exactly where that coffin bone is inside this foot and how to find it. Okay, so if we come back an inch behind that true apex of the frog, 1 inch behind, you see we've got where the bars terminated into the frog and where we've got the widest part of the sole. All of those are lining up together. Now then, just go 2 inches in front of that center mark right there, and that's going to be right up here. Okay, that's where I need the breakover to be on this horse, based on the markings. If I go 1.75 inches in front of that center mark, that's where the end of the coffin bone would be on this horse right here. So we've got an excess amount of hoof in front of center and not much behind. So that's the map that I'm going to use to go ahead and trim this horse with. First thing I'm going to do is address those bar and get it straight, as straight as I can. You can't always get them completely where you want them to be, but we can go as far as the horse will let us. And how far is that? Well, that's down to where the bar and the sole meet. Okay. We've still got a little bit of curvature to those bars, but for the most part they're pretty straight right there. Okay. Now then, I'm going to think about trimming those heels. I've been talking and the horse is getting tired here. I'm going to start back at the heel and come forward to my center mark. I'm going to start back at the heel and come forward to my center mark. See? And that gives me a good solid base for this horse to stand on behind it. Now in front of that center mark, I'm going to change my angle. And I'm going to go with a real conservative trim. And I'm going to keep that angle out. In other words, the outside part of the nipper is higher up the foot than the inside. Okay, we've still got a good deal of foot out here at the toe. So what you're seeing right here is stretched lamini. The lamini ought to be the white line, and where that yellow line is should be together. So from there to there is stretching. That's where that distortion is taking place out front. So I'm going to take my rasp here and shorten that toe again a little bit more. Okay, now, you notice I did not remove very much foot right across here. We need to leave all the protection we can for the bottom, for the sole part of this horse's foot, so he got protection to the coffin bone, so he's not sore. But see how much stretch this hoof wall is at the toe? I'm going to take my rasp around the end here. I'm going to just take that back. My goal is to get that hoof wall nearly the same thickness all the way around the foot. Now then, let him have his foot back. I held that foot quite a while, and he said, man, my foot about went to sleep there. Anyway, I let him recover while I'm recovering, and then I'll get my stand here, and we're going to come out front and address that distortion out front on this horse. Give me a little Okay, now if I place that rasp on there, you see that gap right in the middle, right there? That is telling me that there's distortion. So I'm gonna start right out here in the front. I'm gonna go at the angle that I want to finish up on, and I'm just starting with a little small spot right there. Okay, there's still a little distortion there. Okay, now we're in pretty good shape. Now what I'm going to do is blend those sides in to match this front. As I feel here, there's a straight line from the hairline all the way out off the end of that foot. And I'm going to come around the outside here. Okay. Take a look at that foot now, and I'll get him a shoe. This is a number 2 center fit. So these marks here should go close to the center of the horse's foot. You see the breakover line is right across here. And we've got all the way back here to our widest part. I'm going to see what a 1 looks like. And that 1 is just a little bit too small for him, so I'm going to go with the 2. But I am going to address bringing the heels in just a little bit. But basically we've addressed the distortion in that foot, and where I'm going to place this shoe is going to also address it even further by letting that, see, this shoe has got a beveled off edge right there, which is going to allow the breakover to be right across here. So we're going to set that shoe right there, and then I'll just address that bottom of that foot off right there in front of the shoe, and then we'll have a 50-50 balance from back here to breakover. That should help this horse quite a bit.